I'm Gaz, and this is Let's Play the Banner Saga. This game is kind of like the Oregon Trail with tactical combat, and in fact the game makes reference to the Oregon Trail at one point when you are given the option to ford a river or float your wagons across it. But it's a lot more than that. It's about storytelling, and you are given several options or several choices throughout the game, and the game changes depending on the choices that you make. Now, having played through this game once already, I can tell you that most of those choices have negative consequences, and the story does not have a happy ending. And I feel that that reflects the Norse mythology and Germanic folklore of old because those stories didn't have happy endings. Tragedy was a big part of them, and so that is definitely reflected here. So without further ado, let's get started. The gods are dead. In their wake, man and giant survived through a tenuous alliance, driving black destroyers called Dredge deep into the northern wastes. Now is an era of growth and trade. Life goes on. Only one thing has stopped: the sun.
Að sjá dreggjana á ferli meðal vor. It has been several long months on the road. The first signs of snowfall accost us on our approach to Strand, largest of the trade cities on the Val-human borders, and our last collection before returning to the capital. Several days ago, the sun simply came to a stop in the sky. Though during these long winter days, none of us can be certain how long it has been this way. Some of the men in the caravan have taken it as a dire omen. I am not quick to superstition, but I myself will be glad to be done with this year's rounds. We have been warned by stranded travelers about brigands on the path through Ridgehorn, our road home. Our captain seems unconcerned. Perhaps he is as eager as I to be done here. We will rest here this day and inquire further when we speak to the governor.
Alright, so we jump right into the combat tutorial. We've arrived just in time. The chieftain in red and his men are now looking at a tougher fight than they bargained for. Okay, these portraits show the combat order, movement, blah blah. This is tactical combat. If you've seen one of these games, you've seen them all. So the giants here, the Varl, they take up 4 squares, whereas regular men only take up 1, and this becomes important later on when you are fighting some of the other enemies that are just as large as us. Okay, so when I move there into the yellow, well, it explains it, but I end up having to use my willpower, and these are points that allow you to do sort of extra damage or other things, and you kind of need them. They're really important, especially later in the game. So moving straight up into combat with this guy, I mean, the tutorial sort of forces you to do it, but normally you'd kind of want to sit back and wait for them to come to you. Okay, so when I click on these guys, I'm given two choices to attack. I can check that... Wow, how about I speak English? I can attack their armor, or I can attack their strength. Strength is also tied to a unit's health. So as it goes down, they become weaker, as well as more vulnerable to dying. So I'm just going to attack this guy's strength because it'll knock him out. Or not? Oh, sorry, I have to check this first. Yep, and it just explains everything I just said. Okay, and so here's this little star icon. I could spend a point of my willpower to do one more damage, but I don't need to do it. Okay, he's down. You gain renown, which we'll talk about later. I hate it. At least I hate the way it's implemented. Right, okay. So, we're going to end up using 2 points of willpower to get this guy all the way up here, which is kind of bad because, well, I mean, he's got 8, so that's not too bad. But you need that willpower aside from doing more damage, but you also need it to do your special abilities here. And so, this guy has Tempest, which you can see down there does normal strength damage to 2 adjacent enemies, which is really powerful on the weak guys. So we'll start with this one. It goes in a clockwise order. Okay, that made quick work of the chieftain's bodyguards. When there is only one enemy left, players enter Pillage Mode. During Pillage, each character moves in order, and there are no more guaranteed turns. Check the initiative to see how the order has changed. Your allies now get to move twice in a row, which is really good. If a character does not move on this turn, he can rest and regain 1 willpower. Which is another important thing, but I have found in my first playthrough of this that I just was impatient and did not rest. But it's a good idea. So I'm going to use my willpower to do bonus damage. And that's the end of the battle. You gain more renown, I believe, when you do not have one of your own guys knocked out.
Like a rabid wolf, that one. How did it come to this? We fool ourselves believing that peace will last. My grandfather built all this from a poor fishing village, you know. He watched the gods die, watched the chaos that followed, watched man and var slaughter each other, even before the dreads arose. All we've done is traded one struggle for another. Now that there are no more dreads to war against, we war against ourselves. This chieftain meant to kill me, and he's not the first. A dozen families in the city would gladly take my chair. This one had men waylaying merchants, both north and south of the city, strangling trade, quite well, I would add, though he denied it to his last. This sort of wolf doesn't stop biting because the head is cut off. It just grows a new head. I am in a bad way, my friend. Help me finish this fight, and I'll gladly send you on your way with double our king's tithe. Take any men you need. They're loyal, I promise you that. They will meet you down in the proving grounds.
Chapter 1. Only the sun has stopped. So, as you can see, this is a very beautiful game. And the soundtrack isn't bad either. I will not be playing it for this Let's Play, unfortunately, because the composer is a professional, and usually when that happens, the music gets copywritten. So I don't want that, especially not with YouTube's new Content ID nonsense, but I'll put something else in. Unfortunately, all that voice acting at the beginning seems to be all there is in the game. So it's going to be rather quiet, and I'm going to have to do all the dialogue reading. You're approached by a familiar man who walks in step with you as you're leaving the Great Hall. He cuts to the chase. Eric, steward of Strand. I manage the governor's business. Ubin, isn't it? It is. The governor tells me you'll be giving us a hand. Seems a bit chaotic around here, Eric. It's been worse. We've got a lot of irons in the fire. What does he want exactly? Scalfings that you didn't... Actually, it's probably shalfings, with the Scandinavian pronunciation. Shalfings that you didn't hack up in the Great Hall scattered after you took out their chieftain. The governor just wants to make sure they stay down. Was hoping you'd join me at the marketplace by the docks. If there's anyone left to worry about, I know who can tell us. Or shalfings. Okay, so we get these sort of map screens. Well, first of all, there is a map, so I guess that's not really an appropriate term for this. But we can interact in towns through, well, with various things. There are heroes' halls and tournament grounds and marketplaces. We're going to go to the marketplace first because we have to, and get out of this tutorial. Let me handle this. You meander through rows of open-face houses and eroded stalls. Colored canvases flap on a briny current. One man in particular blanches as you approach. Had, I'm not in the mood today. For what? Talking to an idiot. The Scalfings... Wow, I'm gonna mispronounce everything this whole Let's Play. The Scalfings chieftain bled out about an hour ago, Had. So when you tell me what rat anus the rest of them crawled back into, nobody's going to try to kill you this time. I don't talk to... They don't talk to me. So, as I said, your choices do have consequences. And, well, I'm not really sure that these ones at the beginning have too many consequences. Let's see... I'm going to say nothing. Eric overturns his flimsy table, scattering Had's assortment of junk across the ground. Gods, Eric laying it on a bit heavy, don't you think? Where are the Scalfings? Noblemen, up by East Wall, but that was months ago, last I know. Had skulks away with a wave of Eric's hand, gathering things from his hovel, disappearing for a while until this blows over, you figure. Your bodyguard steps forward. Are we done here? Gunulf? Is that how you pronounce that? Gunulf, were you wearing green back at the Great Hall? No, just bought 'em while you were walking around. Why? They look good. I'm glad you care. Gunulf goes off to look at more stalls. Eric, that man of yours seems unreliable at best. A blind dog wouldn't trust Had, but he used to be a shelving. If they're licking their wounds, they've probably gone to old haunts, not new ones. Nobleman is a mead hall? Best I can tell, the name's ironic. Listen, I know a guy who would love to put a few of these shales in the ground. I'm going to find him. I'll meet you there. Shouldn't we have some sort of approach? What a luxury. Come on, you've already mopped up worse today. Just make sure the governor remembers his promise. Double the usual tithe. I'll remind him. Okay, now we get to go to the mead house. You arrive in front of what must be noblemen. A few minutes later, Eric appears with a weather-beaten man introduced as Valgard. I'll point them out, Eric says over his shoulder. Ready? Let's get it over with. That's the spirit, says Valgard. Okay, here we go. Valgard boots the front door open so hard it won't close again without repair. As you enter the hall, Eric is already at the head of a table, his axe drawn. Wide-eyed, drunken shalefings scramble to find their own weapons, turning tables and mead steins in the process. Alright, so this time I get to go on my own, and Ubin just sort of stands in the back and does nothing. So I think... Well, first I'm going to click on these guys, and I'm going to find out what they do. The shield banger here has Return the Favor, which means that getting hit means I can counterattack. Eric has Rally, which gives 2 willpower to all allies in range. which is very good. He can also move through allies, which is also useful. Valgard has Shield Wall, which means that standing by allies gives them a defensive bonus, and Stonewall blocks some damage. So I think what I'm going to do... Well, let's see, what kind of range... I can't see what range they have. You can click on the little banner here to see the armor and strength of all of the opponents on the field, as well as what willpower they have. The enemies also have abilities, and they will use them. I think I'm going to come over here and just sort of get everyone this way. That way I can focus on this group, and these guys have to come over because they've all got shields, and I don't want them all to get the defensive abilities. Let's see, what does this show me? Yeah, everything I just talked about. Okay. Now do I want to charge ahead because unfortunately my giants are going to sort of be at the end of this. But it looks like those guys aren't going to move too far forward. Okay, so yeah, let's move forward just a little bit, and that way I will be sort of in range when it is my turn. Okay, I guess I'll have him come up here. Rally, he doesn't need to do that. Although, did he get the full... Sometimes they don't start out with full willpower, and that's mostly to do with morale, but that comes later. Let's see. If I stand here and attack, then they're gonna focus around here, and I'm gonna have to get Gulnilf running around. Well, better to get the first strike, especially at this range. Now I can't use that for some reason, and I think I'm going to take down his armor first. Actually, since they're both equal, I could just take out his health. That might be a better choice. Let's attack his health first. Well, it's also his strength, so as we weaken him, he becomes less of a threat to me. But this ratio between strength and the opponent's armor does matter. If you can knock down their armor, you can pretty much one-hit kill them. But you really have to focus on one or the other, because if you try and focus on both, it's going to be a real struggle. And I find the most effective way to fight is to sort of do a combination, have one guy focus on the armor, and then have another guy come in and attack the strength, because one person just will not do enough, especially on later enemies that are much more difficult. But let's go ahead and knock out some of his strength. And hopefully I can do this without any of my guys falling. Let's see. He would get an attack, but he would attack other people too, so let's just get him up there. Maybe he can soak up some of the damage. Okay, now does he have... Looks like he's only got his shield. If I move there, I can probably do a lot of damage to him. What was his special ability? Stonewall. I don't want to do that. I need to get in here and attack. Okay, so I can use up 2 of his. I've actually got more willpower than my maximum. I'm sort of overcharged, and that will never happen. That will never happen ever again. So since these guys are already using more than they have, I doubt his rally ability would work. I could come in here and get a first strike. I definitely don't want to go on this side because then I'll get swarmed by these guys. But, you know what? I think I'll just have him sort of hang back. And hopefully he won't come charging at me. Oh, you would do this. Now I'm going to have to inch further back that way, and then Gunnulf is going to have a hard time getting up here. I could have them come back this way, But looking down here, I won't have... Let's see, who's the first one? Okay, that guy will come in and he'll probably attack that guy instead. Because you do gain aggro. As you attack more, you become the focus of enemies. You know what, I think I'll do this. I'll have him come back. And hopefully Valgard can handle it. Okay. That's a really shitty ability he used there. Okay, well... I can go ahead and knock this guy out in one blow. And, it also did some damage to him. Why? Oh, heavy impact, right. He has the ability to target an adjacent enemy for a point of damage. Now, he's kind of in trouble here. I mean, he's knocked down to half strength, and I don't have any way to heal that. So, I'm gonna send him back, and I will use him sort of as support. Should I use that? I don't think he'll be attacked. I think now that Gunnulf just came in here, he'll be attacked. Let's be on the safe side and increase his shield. Now he's using that ability. So what that ability does with these guys... What is he called? Thug Leader. Well, anyway, whatever it is, he's using Bloody Flail, which does random attacks on either strength or armor. Fortunately, we got away with just having my armor damaged. But, I'd really rather not have that happen. Let's see, if I... He's not going to do much damage at all, but maybe I can get away with knocking down his strength. And then I can have my friend here come in and kill him. Very good. Okay, now, we do have an issue here where they're lining up, and so they're all going to get that shield wall bonus. So I need to do some serious damage. Maybe I should have actually moved him to the side over here so I could have him run up, but whatever. We'll do 9 damage to him. And that, again, has a lot to do with my strength, which is 15, versus his armor of 6. And he can be promoted already, which is nice. Oh, that was lucky. He got the ability to deflect. Now, what do I do about Valgard? Just have him hang back, or should I have him use up some of his renown, or willpower rather, to get up here? If I do that, he can gain aggro and he'll be surrounded. I don't believe we get to keep this character, so it doesn't really matter. But I think I'll just have him move up here, in fact, and just apply his Shieldsman bonus, and then I'll have him do some more heavy blocking. Okay. I could probably come in here. Let's see, who's next? Okay. I might be able to come in here and do some real damage to one of these guys. I'd really rather he not take aggro, though. But we'll do it, because I'm wasting a lot of time. Ah, shit. That's what I thought. These guys have much higher ability. Now, these ones have 8s and 9s in their armor. This guy's probably the best bet. So let's knock down his... Actually, no, there's really no reason. Let's go straight for the strength. That'll weaken him. What about this guy? Yeah, okay. So there is a thing where when you are at a disadvantage, the ability to hit their strength comes with a percentage. So there's a chance you will miss, in which case it's much better to go for your armor. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and come back and go for this guy instead. Okay. Yep, and now he's surrounded, so that's not very good. Maybe we can knock this guy out. Well, not fully, but I can do 4 damage to him. So hopefully he'll take aggro now. Okay, good. That's really what you want, is for them to attack the armor on these big guys, because they really just have nothing they can do to me. Let's see. Oh, damn, I don't have the ability. Yeah, okay. In the normal game, you get this horn that, as you defeat people, will fill up, and then you get to sort of recharge your willpower. I've got willpower though, so I don't know why I'm not getting the extra movement. But that's what it's really useful for, is just giving yourself that extra little bit. Oh, don't attack him. Leave him alone. When you need it. Okay, so now we've only got an 80% chance at this. I think I'll go ahead. I don't need that many. I only need to do 2. We'll go ahead and try it. Damn it. Leave him alone! Okay, well, Eric might be able to take him at a 70% chance. No. Okay, what's wrong here? I guess just that we have the same ratio? Well, what can I do? I guess I can attack his armor. I really need to get him out of there. Let's not waste... Yeah, let's just kill this guy. Shit, I need to get him out. 11 on this guy. Okay. He almost got it. There we go. Perfect. So Gunnulf has her promotion coming, which is useful. And I've got much more renown. There they are. Gods be damned. I've got to go wash off this blood. Eric is looking out the hall's window onto the bay. A fleet of longships approach with sails of bold reds and blues. One banner I know well. Vognir. Next Fervarl kingship last we spoke. The other flag? Looks important. Yeah, important guests. See what I deal with all day long? Things make a little more sense. You hoped I'd have a stake in saying everything's fine here when royal guests arrived. Not me, the governor. Now I have to make sure there are no rotting bodies or pools of entrails still in the Great Hall before they come by. Can I ask one more favor? What is it? If you happen to stall our guest down on the docks, I wouldn't object. Maybe I will. Last time I said no, and it really just had no effect whatsoever. Just changed the dialogue a little bit. Eric and Valgard hustle from the meat house. To his credit, Eric tosses the barkeep a spar of silver for the mess. You give an apologetic shrug and go to greet the new arrivals down at the docks. Okay, and so they move in very slowly, which is really cool, nice and cinematic. But before we progress with the story, I'm going to end this one here. So I will see you next time.